everyone, and welcome back to Decisive Squirrel Homestead. Today is July 19th. I actually filmed this video yesterday, but I tried to do something new with the filming and I flew too close to the sun. I have a hard enough time getting good video on a normal day. I wasn't ready for doing something special yet. So we're gonna try to redo this and see if I can make it fit with what worked from yesterday. I am sitting here next to our okra plants. These things are huge. This is like a whole tree trunk under here. I think, yeah, they've got to be over 3 feet tall now. They're producing like crazy. We weren't planning to plant okra this year. We threw some in the ground just because we had free seed, and that turned out to be a very good thing because we didn't expect the weather that we're having. And these plants love the heat. And so this is one of the few things that's really producing a lot of food for us. We found out that if we fry okra and then flash freeze it in the freezer, we can eat it later just by warming it up in the air fryer. So we're not having to get out the oil and heat up the kitchen and everything every time we want to eat it. And that's worked out great. We can collect okra over a week or so and fry one big, huge batch all at once. That has been really, really great. We're probably getting close to having a whole year's worth of okra in the freezer, but these plants are still producing great. I think I'm actually gonna try to leave at least some of these bigger ones down here on the end and see if they'll work sort of like a perennial. I know you can do that with peppers in certain weather. Okra doesn't really like the cold, but I think I'm gonna see if it works with this one, just see what happens if I leave it here. So okra is doing great, very, very happy in this heat. We are still in triple-digit temperatures all the time, no end in sight, no rain in sight. We haven't had measurable rain since I think June 2nd, and we are over 100 degrees every day. 105, 106 is the new norm. And since it's only the middle of July, we probably have quite a while of that weather left. I'm guessing 6 weeks or so at least. So it's been rough, but the okra here is doing great, producing really well for us. On the other side of me here, our purple whole peas are, I think, nearing the end of their life. We are getting quite a few purple whole peas. I've canned a lot. They've also produced really well in this heat. But I was collecting about a gallon bag of purple whole peas every day, and that has started to slow down. And some of these plants are looking really rough. They look like they have some rust on the leaves, and I think they're about ready to go. The cool thing about the purple whole peas is they've actually developed a really great insect ecosystem. We don't use pesticides in the garden, except for I did spray neem oil on these plants, I think 3 times, just because things got out of hand for a little while when we were out of town. But that kind of balanced everything out, and now there's a really good mix of good bugs and bad bugs. So some bugs that want to eat the peas out of the pods, and then lots and lots of beneficial insects that eat those bad bugs. And so there's a really good balance right now. So there's lots and lots of bugs in here, but not a lot of the peas are getting eaten. So that's worked out really well. I actually see a ladybug over here right now. There it is, and there goes a wasp. These paper wasp and dirt daubers, not on my hand. As long as you don't grab them, they're not gonna come for you, but they don't hurt the pea pods, and they feed the harmful pest to their larvae. So they're actually useful to have in the garden, and they're not aggressive, they don't mess with you, you just have to be careful not to grab them. So this whole row of purple whole peas is probably gonna get pulled out next weekend, I'm guessing. Today's Tuesday. I think I'm probably gonna pull those out Saturday or Sunday. We'll see how they're doing and how many peas I'm getting off of them. I do have another round of purple whole peas on the other side of the garden. Not as many as this, just a few. This is 3 rows planted. I have 1 row planted on the other side of the garden because you can start those in the middle of summer around here. And so we'll get a few more off of that, but not like we have been getting. But like I said, we've gotten to can a lot of purple whole peas, so we have a lot stored up, and that's been another good food producer in this heat. Hopefully you can see with the sun out here, it's just full sun all day, every day around here. But we do have some volunteer tomato plants that have come up that we've let grow. So here's one in the okra plants. There's another one, yes, down here that's actually being held up by okra plants, so I haven't put a cage around it. So we didn't plant those just came up on their own, and we're leaving them because around here you can plant tomatoes around this time of summer and get a fall harvest of tomatoes. So they came up on their own. We're hoping they'll produce for us. We didn't get a ton of tomatoes this year because we didn't plant as many, and also it just got too hot too quick, and so the ones that we did plant didn't produce super well. So we were able to can some stuff, but not very much. So we're hoping to get some for the fall just so we can put some up. Now, we grew a ton of tomatoes last year, so we had a lot in the pantry still, but we've still been going through those, and they're not going to last another year until next year's early summer harvest. So I haven't cut out my tomato plants. They're looking really rough. So down here at the bottom, there's a lot of dead leaves. A lot of this is not actually disease, it's just old leaves. They've been on the plant for a long time, and I do need to get down here and cut all of these out. But the top of the plant is looking a little, they're not great. The leaves are kind of curled up and things like that, and that's just because it's so hot. But I think when the weather cools down, they will still produce for us. The other thing I want to try is I was watching a video from Roots and Refuge Farm YouTube channel, and she was saying that these suckers right here that come up between the branches, so a lot of times we prune those off. I've stopped pruning them as the summer's gone on just because I wanted to have the plant be bushier so it was more shaded. But she was saying if you cut these off and you just stick them in like a jar of water, they'll start to root, and then you can put those in the ground and they'll have a head start for being that fall crop of tomatoes. So I think I'm going to try that with some of our good producers. We do have a few, like right here, we have a few tomatoes that set fruit. I don't know how. I guess, we got just barely cool enough one night and some of the flowers did set fruit. So we have a few tomatoes, but they're not producing really well. It's just too hot. If it doesn't get down to a certain temperature at night, the flowers just drop off. They don't set fruit. And some of these I need to pin back up to our arch here. But the plants are here. They're alive. They're doing pretty well. We'll see if we can get more tomatoes in the fall. Over here on the far side of the garden, the other side of the tomato plants, we have on the left-hand side our pumpkin plants that I planted that have been overrun with squash vine borers again. I don't know that any pumpkins are going to come out of those. I've really got to get on squash vine borer control next year. I know leaving these plants in the ground makes that task a little bit more difficult, but they overrun everything no matter what you do. So I'm leaving the plants and hoping I can get some pumpkins out of them. But I'm definitely going to have to do more research and see what I can do to keep squash vine borers away next year. I think it's probably going to come down to trying to have traps. So I've read things like having a yellow solo cup with some soapy water in it, or yellow sticky traps, because the bugs are attracted to the yellow flowers. But like these plants haven't flowered and they're still overrun with squash vine borers. So I'm not real sure. I'm gonna have to work on that a little bit more next year and try to be diligent about keeping those away and see if we can do better with that. The herbs over here are doing quite well. This huge basil bush here, if we ate pesto, it would be great for pesto. We don't really eat pesto, but we do use basil in our cooking and it smells really good. It's nice to have out here. I don't think, oh, there's a sage plant down here that's doing pretty well. So this is sage that's growing pretty good. Doesn't really like the heat, but it's alive, it's here. The dill went to seed and it's died back now. Peppers are looking a little bit rough, but they are producing. We have some Sugar Rush peach peppers down here, and our jalapenos are on this row down on the other end. Yeah, here's jalapeno peppers that we need to pick apparently. They've all turned red. And some more volunteer tomatoes. So there's another tomato plant that we did not plant. Peppers are also not real happy. It's too hot for everything. 105 is too hot for just about any cultivated crop. I did finally start attacking our berry vines. So this is the job I least wanted to do. It's not done yet, but I've made a ton of progress. So if you've seen the earlier videos, this strip here was completely overrun with weeds, and I've pulled a lot of those out. I did clean up the dewberry vines a little bit. So dewberry vines will just grow wild around here, which is great because it's like a native plant that doesn't take much upkeep and produces well, but it also just takes over, and you'll end up with a huge hedge that you can't even get to the middle of to collect fruit from. So I tried to find back where each vine started at the ground and go from there and try to keep it to one spot. So like over here, this is a raspberry vine that's looking pretty rough, but I'm hoping will come back. And there were dewberries coming up right around the raspberry vine. So I cut those that were coming up right around that so that can have some space. And then I kind of designated this space next to it for dewberries. So there are a few vines coming up from the ground, and I just kind of traced those and left those in this section. Now the dewberry vines, let's find a good example. So some of the canes have 5 leaves. That means they're first year canes and they will produce fruit next year. And then some of them have 3 leaves, which I think I got all of them. Well, here's one. So if they have 3 leaves, that means they produced fruit already this year. And those generally are not going to produce fruit next year, and they start to die back. And so I pulled out all of those so they weren't mucking things up here and making everything a tangled mess that we can't get to the middle of. Further down the row, we have our blackberries that we planted, cleaned up around those. This one plant here is doing really, really well. It's grown up the fence a lot. We do need to get in here some more, pull some more weeds and mulch over here to just give things a little bit of a break from the grass that's growing up around them. So that's just a quick update of how things are going here. We've been doing a lot in the kitchen, canning a lot of purple hull peas, frying up and freezing a lot of okra, taking advantage of sales when we can find them. So whatever the loss leader is at the local grocery store, we go ahead and buy it and preserve it in some way. We had 97-cent a pound pork shoulder recently, so we bought a bunch of that and made tamales and put those in the freezer. So anything we can do to store up food at an affordable price so that we're not paying the most expensive prices, the non-sale prices on things. So taking advantage of when fruit's on sale, canning that up, all of those sorts of things. So this is our mid-July update in the garden. Things are looking rough, but they're gonna get better. We're planning for fall. We will see y'all later. Bye.